Okay. All right. Okay, you got the sound good. Hi, Brian and Eric and Rusty, Indrajit. How are you doing? Hey, Hater. Okay, is the sound all right now? I think what it is that I use my other sound. What happened to my fancy sound thing here? Well, I'll just have to worry about it later. Okay. Hi, Google Krishma. No, Sam, I just want to tell you that you make some of the best watch content on here. Oh, thank you very much. Jerome de Marseille. No sound. Okay. Okay, sounds all right now. Oh, good. Okay. All right. I Rancher was right. On the video we had on came out on Friday morning. I had a bunch of watches and I was looking at those. But then I thought, well, if you could, looking at my collection, I was saying, if I could only have one watch, had to get rid of all of the rest of them, which one would I keep? And man, I tell you, naturally, I'd want to keep my Larique, but I'd also want to keep my Van Cleef and Arpels, my new Chanel, my FP Journes, the H Mosers, the Lang and Hein Vacheron Constantin 1921. You know, I I really don't know, so I'm not even sure how to go about it. There's not a watch of my main watches that I'd want to give up. The only watches that I've done that with is the ones I've sold. So I'm asking for your wisdom on this. How do you come down to a single watch? Hey, Washington. Uh, okay, let's hear from you guys. Uh, okay. Hey, Canadian Watch Monkey, how you doing? As of right now, I'm keeping my PF Hebdo Damari. It may change in the year. Yeah. How does the watch make me feel when I put it on? That's a great criteria, Rancher. Hey, Licks. Um, okay, Owen. Sort of like an intervention, huh? A bit like somebody asks, which of your children do you like the most? Exactly. Now, on the other hand, if you said, well, which kids would you want to get rid of? That's another question. Actually, none of them. Um, okay. The one I wear most is my Tudor Black Bay 5856. You know, um, early on when in my earlier collections, when I was thinking that the best way to start a collection was with the Holy Trinity, the one that I wore all the time was my overseas. And as much as I like my Calatrava, and as much as sort of the my Audemars Piguet, which I never liked, even when I bought it, I didn't like it, which is I just got the wrong one because I do like Audemars Piguet. I like him a lot, as a matter of fact. But you know, at that time, I was wearing the overseas every day, and now I go through one after another. Enjoy wearing them all. I've already had on, what's it, 8 o'clock in the morning. I've already had on two different watches. Because so you're talking to a sick puppy here, and I need some wisdom. I would keep my Moser, sell off my Rolex GMT and something else. Yeah, that's that. I definitely would do something to say was I don't know. I think Rancher's point is which one makes you feel the best when you put it on, and I got a lots of them. I just feel great when I put them on. So it's sort of there's that, and there's another kind of thing that if your watch has a lot of rich history to it, m for some reason, well, I guess it's a pretty rich history. By, Van Cleef& Arpels, um, RDC et Ur D'ailleurs, I spent so much time learning how to say that that I hate not to have it anymore. But here's a watch with dual jumping hours, with a retrograde minutes, and with a platinum micro rotor, specially made by Jean-Marc Wiedereck for Van Cleef& Arpels because the old Pierre Arpels watch that they wanted fixed up to be a dual time watch and also very thin. The only way he could do it was to have this incredible ingenuity in it. Now, it would be impossible to give up a watch like that. On the other hand, yeah, we spent over a year with 50 people trying to get this, and so we know every bit of it. We know all about it, and the how we ended up with a brand new movement, a very special dial. Um, you know, I just like I said, I think if you had I don't know, giving up kids, I think it'd be easier. Give them all. They've been gone for years, and I love to see my kids, but man, I tell you. Okay, let's see some ideas here. I want to see how you make these tough choices. Um, how easy it is to read. Can you read it at a glance? Yeah, that's important. Hey, Jason, I think the only way to do it is go with pure aesthetics. Forget brand history and everything. Yeah, you're probably right, Jason. That's a good point. Hi, Henry. For me, I'd have nothing to do with the rarity or price. It would be an emotional attachment. Yeah. Yeah, I think it comes down to that, sort of some kind of visceral kind of connection you have to a certain watch. Yes, it's all about the sentimental value. Yeah, boy, I tell you, a bunch of sentimental guys here. Hey, sell the ones you can buy again later. No, you can't do that. We'll say there's a new rule. You only can have one watch. Uh, what do you got there, Jerome? See, color of a dial isn't important. I wouldn't keep blue or green dials. White dials, okay. And the best strap monster. I made my choice of Patek Philippe first. The look grabs me. Second, the bloodline. Bloodline, huh? I've had I'll have to go to ancestors.com to find out the bloodline. Um, yeah, yeah, that's a good point, Rancher. Uh, is it that, or what people are? Some collectors are more in tune with what they like. Hi, Josh. I would keep the one which I spend most of the time with, which is my Speedy Man on the Moon. Nothing flashy, just a proper, huh? We got a proper gentleman. Just a proper reliable watch. You know, US, I like that. I mean, you've got a watch, you've got all of these different fancy schmancy watches, and you say, "Oh, this one works all the time," and I just like wearing it. It feels good, and off I go. That was the last watch I felt that way about was my overseas, mainly because I wore it every day. Love that watch. And it was funny. I just wore it all the time and never worried about it. And, get up and reset it in the morning if I had to. I don't know. Yeah, you couldn't buy a second watch, right. Yeah, that I mean, really, I guess what I hope to do by this kind of discussion is to look at it in terms of, well, what is what is it that is important to us? I mean, and one way to find out what's most important is to say which one would you have left? The interesting thing that a lot of you have brought up was that you could care less about popularity, but rather it was what it means to you as a watch. In other words, it's more personal than oh, I guess oh, sort of there's I think there's a politically correct police out there for certain watches. And, they say, "Well, you should have one of these in your collection," that kinda character, you know? It seemed that this, at least from the comments I've seen, is that, no, who cares about what they think? That's what I think, and I agree. Okay, let's see, Big Sal, one watch that you, purchased are counting gifts. I have 2 given to me by my wife that can't be sold unless I get divorced. Yeah, I understand that, Big Sal. Not only that, but, some other kind of thing that has a personal, connection like that. A friend, uh, you got it when you and a buddy were, out getting watches together and you both got one you liked and it's the same watch, all kinds of different things like that. But a lot of people have watches that they inherited from their parents or father or grandfather, things like that. Uh, I'd want to have something I could easily have fixed. Well, if you want something that's easily fixed, make sure it's got an ETA movement. More watchmakers I've talked to say, "Oh, yeah, they love the ones with ETAs," mainly because they can get the parts for them. I don't know if they still can or not, but, um, I my watches can be easily fixed. But they're very expensive to get fixed. I'm still, have to go down and take my, FP Journe down to have it sent off, and just waiting till I get a chance to go over and drop it off at the, FP Journe boutique in New York. I could send it in directly, but somehow I think, well, if they get it from the boutique, they'll somehow take better care of it. I don't know. Before I began collecting watches, my wife bought me a Movado black dial, dress watch. What a nice thing for her to do, for me to wear with my tux when we got married. She'll bury me on it. Yeah. I don't know, getting buried in a Movado. I that's like I don't know. Oh, in theory, I only need 1 watch. Yeah, that's true with all of us. Actually, we don't need any. I got my iPhone here that I check to find out, double check all the time. I got my computer. There's time telling everywhere. Even my Fitbit's got the right time. Um, my watch is just because I like to have a watch, and this one is incredibly accurate. That's one thing I'm very happy with. Hi, Thalai. My current collection, it would be the Seiko Alpinist. I like that watch too. I know what you mean. I really like the Alpinist. They I don't know if that's the one they discontinued, but I'll tell you, if there's a TV show, if there's anything that I like, they cancel it. And the same with watches. I like the Patek Philippe um, Gondolo line, the one before 2009. I like the, Rolex Prince, canceled that. Uh, you know, a lot of things, they cancel them, can't get them anymore. Does anyone own an Armstrong System 78? It looks pretty cool for an only watch. Oh, I agree. It would be a great only watch. I think um I think Michael's got one. I think Michael Cobb, I think he's got one. I don't have one. I wouldn't mind having an Armstrong at all. My current collection, it would be okay, you're gonna hang on to that. Whenever I break the Lyrique out, I have to tell everyone um, to only wind it a turn or two and have someone else have the joy of it. Yeah. Oh, you want to wind my watch? This feels really great. It just, it's a very strange watch. The only other watch I've ever had that had this kind of wonderful feeling when you wind it was my old original Patek Philippe Calatrava. God, that thing just felt like you're sort of turning the stem in a little chest of jewels. It was had this wonderful feeling, and this one does too. I have an old Breitling I inherited from my best friend that got me into this hobby. Never selling that. Will go to my eldest when he graduates. Yeah, that's a good idea. My kids, I tell you, I wish they would, but my kids could care less about watches. They're just not interested in them. I mean, they've got probably a half a dozen electronic watches or things like that that they just don't see a need for, something like this. Um, yeah, I'm gonna sell all my watches when it looks like, man, time to go. I'm not even taking one with me. A Movado maybe. I don't know. I was lucky to get the Seiko Alpinist 2 years before they canceled it. Yeah, that's a neat watch. I'll keep my, Chopek quite a whew, boy, quite a Bridges. That is a very cool watch. Really like that Chopek. It's got an interesting dial. I'm trying to remember, what it looks like, but it's got these I think is it the one with 2 subdials, and then you got a main dial and a subdial do something useful? Of one of the video yesterday, I must have say the 1908 because I could find the native D to fix it in every town. I would almost say that. Yeah, if you want silicone hairspring, sure. What do they do with that? They just replace the whole thing? They can't adjust it. Mm. Okay, let me try to think of some other kinds of criteria. Oh, yeah, I've got one watch that I really like it a lot, um, and but for my only watch, I don't think I'd want it, even though it's by far the most valuable, and that's my resonance. I like the resonance a lot. It's got those 2 dials, and I love to see how they keep in sync, but they're a little small. I like being able sort of to glance real quickly and see what time it is. The interesting thing, I was looking at, this watch, my Daniel Roth, today. This is the Daniel Roth retrograde, Premier retrograde, and the thing about this watch is that looking at the time on it, the only thing that is regular about it, let me see if you can see it up here. Yeah. The it goes from 12 to 6 and then it retrogrades back to 6 and then it goes back up to 12 again. And so you have to get used to looking at it. It's like, okay, now that means it's you know, but once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. The same thing is true with my Chanel with the retrograde minutes and the Van Cleef and Arpels with retrograde minutes. You gotta look at it and think about it for a while. Um, I like to just sort of glance and go. Um, hey, Tim, happy Easter and Passover to you too. Whatever other holiday it is as well. I'm all for holidays. Oh, yeah, Switzerland's having a bank holiday on Monday, just so you know. Steel or PM? Ah, steel. Hi, Indrajit. Let's see. Your only watch is the one which makes your heart skip every time you watch it like your life partner unless and until you have an affair. What? Yeah, have an affair with a watch, you know. Hey guys, I'm seeing my uh some other watch on the side. I'm out, I'm on a date with my Seiko when I shouldn't be. Which would be easier, trying to buy your one and only watch, knowing relatively little versus just downsizing a collection, knowing too much? Boy, that's a good question, Owen. But I think the less you know, the happier you are in all things. Ignorance is bliss, I think. Um, in a way, yes, in a way, no. There's certain watches I have that ended up being extremely uh, valuable through no fault of my own. And ignorance would be, oh, I'm going to sell this thing. I'm tired of looking at those two little dials on it. I want a bigger dial. And they unload it. That would be a shame. Um, I don't know. There's so many watches. One of the things when they had the video yesterday with all of these great watches, I was looking at, and these are not ones I own. I think one of the few I had on there was the Chronomet Sylvain and the Vacheron Constantin 1921. But man, I kept looking at those. Boy, that Kronfeller, I really like that. No, gee whiz, that H. Moser with the Agengraph. Oh, I really like that. There's so many watches I still would love to have. But then, I look at my collection and I think, man, you got to sort of slim down. I've been recently looking at Laurent Fleurier pieces. Some of their titanium pieces would make a great one and done. Yeah, it's funny. Laurent Ferrier, I was at the Cellini's a few years ago, and I tried on a number of different Laurent Ferriers. And the thing about them was that they were very light. I imagine a titanium one would be also very light. Now, if you like light watches, I mean, you don't even know what you have them on, which is probably ideal. I like my watches with some heft to them, and uh, this is this one has sort of a core heft to it, but it's really not very heavy compared to a gold watch or a platinum watch. They have a lot more heft than you get with a titanium and generally a steel watch. How much does a gorgeous or spectacular movement outweigh having a less desirable watch face? I would say a lot, at least with me it would. I don't know if that would be true for everyone. The one exception, there was this German watch company in Munich. Forgot the name of their watches. They made the ugliest watches imaginable, and they had this great movement. They used the UWD 33.1 movement from that Marco Lang made. And I wish I had bought one now and I'd take it out of the ugly watch and put a new dial on it. But yeah, I think there's a point where a watch is the dial is so ugly, it just, I don't know. Which would be easier trying to buy, yeah, let's see. I've recently been looking, okay, Lorian, I got to move down here. Then why don't you have more chronographs? I I think I'm down to 1. Changed my mind. I would keep my, Panerai Radiomir 0380. What about your 381? Call it. I don't know. Yeah, there's something to that, I think. I mean, you have I look at the movement, probably, I think the movement that's the prettiest movement I have, and I'm not positive, but I think so, is the one on my, Van Cleef& Arpels, and it's not a popular watch at all. I mean, it's not a watch that people see that and they say, "Wow, I gotta go buy 2 of those." I love 'em. Uh, it's it's a very different kind of watch. Yeah, I mean, Pierre Arpels was sort of back in 1949 decided to have a gentleman's watch, and they were relatively small back then. I think it's probably, like 34, 36 millimeters, and he drew it up on a table napkin, the design, and they followed that design all the way through. And it's one of those nice, clean watches, and they use the Piaget movement in it, and you can pick those up fairly cheaply right now, but not a lot of people want one. Okay, I just don't, like the Submariner, not all divers, just the Submariner. Ah, frying pan time, okay. Alright, one last one. Curtis, I've owned my Rolex for 40 years, 30 plus is 1 watch. I'd go back to the Pepsi, and being said now with 12 plus watches, it's hard to go back, yeah. Okay, time to go. Time from all right. Jerome, we'll have that one. We are collectors, so it's difficult to keep only one. It should be an everyday watch with some hundred meters. What do you do with a 100-meter watch? I mean, unless you wear it in a shower or something. That's something I was. I don't know. Whatever the deep end of a swimming pool. I wouldn't wear my watch into the water anyway. But I guess some people like the ones with very heavy, really good down deep, uh, waterproof, and I can understand that. Okay, Indrajit, Cillian Pinard is a great one. I agree. Only watch for one. Extremely beautiful. That's a great one. Saved for 20, 25 years. Wear it 14 and die. Oh, Indrajit. Okay, guys, listen. We'll be back this afternoon. What I'd like to talk about this afternoon, hey, a choice of any watch. Let's say you can now just have one watch in your whole collection, but you can choose any one in the world. We had a list of only 10 watches before, and I left out some of my favorite watches, a lot of German watches. So um, let's talk about that this afternoon. In the meantime, take care, be safe, and see you later.